Hey, what's up there, YouTubers? It's me again, Brian, aka Gamer 55551. And for this video, since we're getting close to the end of the year and everything like that, though, and of course, happy holidays, whether it was celebrating Christmas or celebrating Hanukkah right now, whether it's with friends or family out there. Just want to say happy holidays, everyone there. We're going to be taking a look at basically gaming in 2024 and where things were, or at least how I viewed it in 2024 in terms of the good, the controversial mix, and the bad. And there were some interesting moments in 2024, including several games I thought really did very well, to some decisions that were questionable to say the least, and some controversy, to some games that unfortunately, did not do as well, including with one company in terms of raising questions about their future and everything like that and all. So for this one, I'm going to break it down into the good, the controversial, the mix, and the bad. So we'll start off with part one, which will be on the good. And I will say for the good, though, I do think that there were certainly a lot of games that really blew up in 2024, but I think the four of them that I thought, three that I thought really kind of blew up and took, maybe you could say, the gaming world by storm was Astro Bot, Metaphor, ReFantazio, the new game from Atlas, and Balatro, if I'm saying the name correctly, though. Now, Balatro I haven't yet played, but I've heard some pretty good things about that one. Astro Bot and Metaphor, ReFantazio, those on the other hand I am playing, though. I'm hoping to get a review of Astro Bot soon, but those two games I definitely enjoyed. Metaphor is a traditional, Atlas RPG and everything like that. Currently playing the demo on the Series S. Want to try to get through all of it before I eventually decide to buy the game in general, though. And I will say, Atlas fans will probably enjoy that one, even with, Persona 3 Reloaded being released also this year as well. But Astro Bot was also a very interesting game because it came around the time when Concord came out, and we all know the situation surrounding with Concord and everything like that. And to see this one win Game of the Year at the Video Game Awards was certainly nice indeed, and I am enjoying Astro Bot, and I really would like to see Sony really push for reviving some of their 3D platforms and all. But in either case, I think these three games kind of really blew up in 2024, though. Next one, of course, is Capcom, and I will say Capcom has been doing pretty well over the last couple of years. They've really made some pretty good decisions on a lot of their choices, though. This year saw some good decisions with, like Apollo Justice Trilogy doing very well, and Dragon Dogma 2, the sequel to the first Dragon Dogma game, also doing very well for Capcom indeed, though. And it certainly would be interesting to see how things will be in 2025 for Capcom and how well they're going to do and everything like that. So certainly nice indeed for Capcom. They had been going along very well with their games, though, and hopefully we'll see what the future holds for 2025. Although I am looking forward to that new Onimusha and sequel to Okami game that they are currently working on and everything. The next one, of course, is Sega and Gotoku Studio, if I'm saying the name correctly, with Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth. The sequel to the Yakuza Like a Dragon game has also did very well for basically for Sega and the studio as well. It seems that the Like a Dragon series is doing, or the Yakuza series has been doing really well for the companies and everything. So these games are doing great, and I believe that the studio behind Yakuza is doing a new entry into the virtual fighter games, and also it's going to be interesting to see how well how that one does. But in either case, it's clear that the Like a Dragon or Yakuza series is still going strong even after all these years. The next one, obviously, is Sony and Arrowhead Studios really hit it out of the park with Helldivers 2. I think the co-op live service game has seemed to be doing very well for this, and it's interesting to see how well this one does compared to, with Concord on the other hand, which that one really. I'll get to that one soon, though. But Helldivers 2, that one, obviously Sony Arrowhead Studio has to be pretty happy with how that game goes. there was some controversy over the decision with the PlayStation sign-in, which didn't sit very well with everybody, and Sony had to remove it, although supposedly they might make some changes here and there. But in either case, though, those two games, that game, Helldivers 2, was definitely a success for Arrowhead Studios and Sony. And of course, we also had several other games that really also did very well, that I thought did good. One that I've yet to try, I'm debating whether I should wait for the Xbox or get the PS5 version and see if there's a physical version, would be Black Myth Wukong. Definitely was a hit though, and that really kind of caught people's attention. Another one, Unicorn Overlord, was also a hit for Vanillaware and Atlus and Sega though. I am a fan of Vanillaware's games and all, and this is certainly another stellar hit for them. And of course, Stellar Blade also did very well, especially coming from a company which up to this point had really only did like mobile games. For them to do like their first console game, this one was actually very good and everything like that. So certainly nice to see those three games do very well in 2024. Of course, other games as well, like Black Ops 6 and Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, were doing well for certainly Microsoft. Indeed, obviously Black Ops 6, which is really isn't surprising considering Microsoft officially now owns Activision Blizzard and everything like that. And Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, a game I'm currently playing on my Series S via Game Pass, is also one that seemed to have gotten some pretty good response though, and supposedly it is doing well sales-wise and everything like that. So obviously good for Microsoft, indeed. And last but not least though, it apparently is, at least on the union side of the situation, it believes that the employees at Activision, I think like around 600, I'm not 100% sure, has officially unionized with the CWA, the Communication Workers for America, which I think that is a good thing though. Again, I'm looking at this from a blue collar perspective though. I mean, I will say that ultimately it is up to the employees to decide whether they think unionization is the right direction to go or not, but I think it's certainly nice to see them basically push for unionization and everything like that. And it'll be interesting to see if we see more employees in the gaming industry push for unionization and all. Hopefully, maybe we'll see something like that in 2025 and everything. Okay, we're going to take a quick break. When we get back, I'll get to the second part of my look at gaming in 2024, and this one will be the controversial and / mix. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with part 2 of my look back at gaming in 2024. So with part 2, we're going to be taking a look at the controversial / mix. Now, these are things that, depending on your perspective or your view, in particularly, some may say this might be either a good thing, some may say it may not be as bad as a lot of people make it out to be, and some thinks it's just downright bad. But in either case, there are some that I think kind of, what I looked at is the way it went out though was sort of mixed depending on the kind of situation though. We'll start off first with Tango Gameworks. Now, earlier this year, it was kind of a shock to many people as it was announced that that was one of the studios Microsoft was going to shut down and all. Excuse me. Even if the numbers were technically there. And this led to a good amount of backlash against Microsoft over ranging from some of the quotes and decisions that they made and everything, to how they were responding to the situation didn't exactly go over well, to just how so bad it was when they basically showed off a flame-type Xbox controller saying "Feel the Burn" that got scorched online to the point that they had to pull the ad off and everything like that. It was just that bad of a situation, and not everybody was pleased with Microsoft's decision, especially over the years making the claim that they wanted to basically, invest in Japan and everything. Well, apparently Tango Gameworks, though ended with Microsoft, it was definitely brought back to life by this South Korean firm and everything like that. So the fact that it still exists and everything is good, and it does give high hopes for a Hi-Fi Rush 2 for those who enjoyed the first Hi-Fi Rush though. That said, it unfortunately doesn't seem like Evil Within is going to leave is going to stick with Tango Gameworks, and it seems that that franchise is going to remain with Bethesda, which is owned by Microsoft and everything. So that one, definitely, I know some don't like that, some do or anything, but in either case, it does seem with Tango Gameworks, they certainly were dead, but they were brought back to life. The next one has to do with Suicide Squad Killed the Justice League. Now, this game unfortunately did not get off to the best of start and didn't really recover after the game launch. When it was announced that Rocksteady, the folks who did the excellent Arkham Trilogy, was doing a Suicide Squad game, many people, there were certain people who were looking forward to seeing this though. And then came the reveal trailer for that game in terms of being a always online type of game, and that really sank the reputation for that game really, really bad. It got downvoted when it was shown during one of Sony's State of Play and everything. So much though that the game was delayed. Originally supposed to come out in 23, but got pushed to February 2024. And then when it did come out, it had a hard time recovering though. It suffered a similar fate with Marvel's Avengers, which also unfortunately shut down and everything like that though. So it became, they tried doing different seasons and all, and although it might have helped to some degree, it wasn't enough for the game to recover. And even Warner Brothers Discovery or basically cited the game as one of the biggest flops compared to Hogwarts Legacy, at least for them to be exact though. However, although they officially announced that they will be ending with the final season with Deathstroke, there is one silver lining with Suicide Squad Killed the Justice League, and it does indicate that unlike Marvel's Avengers, this game can now be played offline and everything like that, which is certainly nice, especially for game preservation and everything like that. And given the fact that the game is cheap right now, I mean, that certainly isn't a bad thing indeed. So there is sort of a silver lining with Suicide Squad Killed the Justice League. Yes, unfortunately the game did not get the response that WB Games and Rocksteady had basically wanted, but at least we're getting an offline mode, similar with what we saw with Redfall as well, which we finally also got an offline mode for that game and all. So there is sort of a silver lining to this game. It definitely did not get the best response, but something positive came out in the end for this one. The next thing we do want to talk about is AI, and this one has been sort of a debate over the use of it in video games and everything like that. Now, I do think when done correctly, AI can be a good thing. I think that if it's utilized as a way to help the workers and help the employees, I'm not against it. But to completely take full control over game development and everything like that, that's where I have some issues with it. And we saw some folks responds to when developers talk about the use of AI in video games, to recently a strike going on over voice actors and everything like that in terms of using their voice with the use of AI. So to me, AI certainly is a gray area. I think there are some benefits to it, but I do understand some of the controversy surrounding it in general, and video games are no exception. They aren't immune to the whole AI situation indeed. So yeah, I think the AI situation definitely isn't going away, and I think we saw it brought debate of it in video games in 2024, and I have a feeling we'll hear more of it in 2025. And last but not least, though, we do have Microsoft doubling down on taking what is basically a multi-platform approach. Now, ever since then, there have been questions about some of the decisions Microsoft has made. While they certainly have put the Xbox brand in a better position than it was during Xbox One, there have been questions about Satya Nadella and Phil Spencer and Sarah Bond and Matt Booty and some of the decisions they made. And this multi-platform approach seemed to have, depending on who you're asking this question to, might have rubbed some people the wrong way. And that is the push to now see more games from them go to multiple platforms. We've seen that before with games like Ori and the Will of the Wisps and Cuphead, but then we started to see other games sort of like basically like Pendament, Grounded. Recently we started to see we saw advertising for Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, which will come a little bit later to the PS5. We saw that with the trailer for The Outer Worlds 2 and everything like that. And some comments that they've made has led to some confusion, as some people heard that no game's off the table, while others are saying it's being done on a case-by-case basis. But in either case, the strategy has rubbed some folks in the wrong way, as they believe that it would make it no reason to pick up an Xbox or anything like that, despite Microsoft claiming that they are continuing to do the Xbox consoles and everything like that. And others are arguing that this is another source of revenue for Microsoft, although some saying one of the reasons is that Game Pass may not be doing well, although that's debatable back and forth. But in either case, though, it is a controversial decision for Microsoft to take the multi-platform approach, especially since they already have a console now. Whether this pays off in the end or not remains to be seen. Obviously, it is with Black Ops 6 and everything, so it's clear this strategy isn't going away, but it's also clear that not everybody approves of this strategy at all. Okay, we're going to take a quick break. When we get back, we'll get to part 3, and this one has to look at the bad and everything. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with our third and final part of our look back in gaming in 2024, the good, the controversial mix, and the bad. And so for part 3, we're going to be taking a look at the bad, stuff that really did not go over very well this year, whether it's through several games or companies out there, or some decisions that unfortunately didn't sound great for a lot of folks. The first one has to do, and this one I thought kind of sucked, and this had to do with the Capcom game Path of the Goddess, though. Gema, if I'm saying the name correctly, which, excuse me, unfortunately, it doesn't seem to indicate the game did very well for Capcom as they had hoped for. And that really is a shame, in my opinion, because I really did enjoy the game. I thought it was sort of unique for Capcom to do something a little bit different and everything like that, or introduce a new IP and all. It's just really sad the game didn't do as well, though. There could be a point to a lot of things. Some folks believe it could be Game Pass, or it could be other factors as well. But whatever the case is, the game did not do well for Capcom. So very disappointment that Path of the Goddess didn't do well at all. The next one has to do, and this one it has to do with Ubisoft itself. And yeah, Ubisoft did not have a great 2024. And there are plenty of reasons, though, okay? Some stuff like Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown unfortunately did not sell very well for Ubisoft, though. There were also the issue with Skull and Bones and how that game supposedly flopped hard. And then, of course, there was also games like Avatar, Frontier, Pandora not doing well, and even Star Wars Outlaw, which did not ship in the best position ever. That game flopped hard to the point that it caused Ubisoft to delay Assassin's Creed Shadow, which was supposed to come out this year, but push it into February of 2025 and all. And you could point, there are a lot of things you could point to of how Ubisoft led to this situation. Some of it I do think is the upper management and the higher ups, including some of their decisions they made, like DRM, Always Online, to making every game an open world, which, while I have nothing wrong with open world games, it's just that not every game needs to be open world and everything like that. It got so bad for Ubisoft that now there's talks about it going private, to even Tencent maybe buying Ubisoft. So Ubisoft was not in the greatest position in 2024. It's going to be interesting to see how 2025 turns out for Ubisoft, though, and it'll be very interesting to see how Assassin's Creed Shadow does when that game comes out. But right now it doesn't seem to be, 2024 was not good for Ubisoft at all. The next thing is that we've seen a lot of companies close down some studios and everything like that. It's ranging from Riot Games to, or laying some employees off and everything like that. But obviously, excuse me, Microsoft had to shut down several studios, though. One I mentioned earlier, Tango Gameworks, and the controversy surrounding that. But this also led to the closure of Alpha Dogs and Arcane Austin. And with Arcane Austin, it was kind of like you knew this was going to happen to Arcane Austin, but it just wish that it didn't. Okay, hold on. Sorry, that's my cat. He's playing with some of the stuff. you wish that this didn't happen and anything like that. And a lot of the reasons why Arcane Austin was shut down was mostly due to the fact of what happened with Redfall. And you could point the blame at a lot of things, though. I do think some of it does fall on the former leadership of ZeniMax and Bethesda in terms of how they wanted to push Arcane Austin into a live service game. And some of it I do think does fall on Microsoft for taking a completely hands-off approach when it became clear, obviously, that there were issues going on at Arcane Austin and they didn't bother trying to address these issues. So it's really unfortunate what happened with Arcane Austin and everything like that. The only silver lining we got from this is that Redfall will now has an offline mode, so at least that's good. But it's it's really sad to see what happened to Arcane Austin. I really wish this didn't happen to them, but it is what it is, unfortunately, with that, though. The other one had to do with GameStop shutting down Game Informer magazine, and this was kind of interesting to see this happening. But then again, GameStop, let's just say, has been kind of struggling over the years. The brick and mortar store, especially in the age of a lot of things going digital and everything like that. And it was a little bit unfortunate to hear Game Informer shut down, especially considering they have their own website and everything like that. There was also supposedly, before they shut down, their last article or last magazine could have been talking about, at the time, Dragon Age Vanguard and everything. So it was very unfortunate to see this happen to Game Informer. But then again, it's issues with GameStop in general, and it's going to be interesting to see where this all goes from here and everything like that. The next one, and this one pretty much is a good example of what I consider the bad, and that has to do with Concord. And boy, did Concord really flop hard and everything like that. This was a game that Herman Hutz really pushed for, to the point that basically Sony purchased Firewall Studio to even Concord make an appearance on Amazon Prime's Secret Level. And when the game came out, it bombed very quickly, though. The hero shooter game did not go over very well with audiences here and there, to the point that the game was only available for 2 weeks before Sony and Firewall pulled the game off to decide what they were going to do with it. And it got to a point where it became clear that they were not going to resell the game. They basically offered refunds, I believe they did, but they also shut down Firewall Studios and everything like that. And I do think a lot of this blame does fall on to Herman Hutz, as he was the one really pushing for this game and everything like that. But I think it really highlights that it's very difficult to break into the hero shooters or the live service part. I mean, we've seen successes, whether it's Warframe to even Marvel's Rivals, which seems to be doing very well at this very moment. But it's sort of interesting to see something from somebody like Helldivers 2 doing well, but Concord not. So it is very unfortunate. I feel sorry for the developers and everything like that. Maybe this was a project they really wanted to push for, but it's clear it did not click with the audience as they had hoped for and everything like that. So yeah, very unfortunate and very awkward situation to see the Concord characters on Secret Level and everything like that. It does make you kind of wonder if Sony kind of jumped the gun way too quickly with this game. So it'll be very interesting going forward what Sony does with their live service approach, because I just wonder how many more live services are going to try to put out, to the point where if they get wasted, if people reject them, that you just wasted all this money into building this and you're having a hard time building it. So it kind of raises questions about Sony's live service approach. And last but not least, unfortunately, 2025 was no exception to more layoffs that we saw in the gaming industry. We certainly did see several studios close. Like I mentioned, Riot Studios, I think, saw some closures. Microsoft, or employees laid off. Microsoft laid off several employees, or laid off a lot of employees as well. Eidos Montreal did, as part of reshuffling, especially with what's going on with the Embracer Group and everything. So unfortunately, there were definitely more layoffs, and wouldn't be surprised if we see more during 2025. Hopefully it's not huge, but given what's been going on in the gaming industry and everything like that, it wouldn't surprise me if 2025 we see more layoffs. Hopefully it's minimum, but time will ultimately tell if that's going to be the case or not. Okay, this concludes my look back in gaming in 2020 and 2024 and all. And again, these are my opinion. What are yours? What are your thoughts about gaming in 2024? Were there anything I maybe forgot to mention, either in the good, the controversial mix, or the bad though? Do you think there were some games that I may have forgot to mention that you thought really blew up in 2024? Do you think there were some decisions that some companies made that were certainly questionable at least? Do you think there were any bad choices some of these companies made? Do you agree with what I said in this video? Do you disagree? Do you have a difference of opinion? As always, sound off in the comment section below. Let me know what you think. And if you do like this video, I hope you hit the like button. I would appreciate it. And I hope you do subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you do, make sure you hit the bell icon for notifications of any new videos I put up. Also, feel free to share this video if you want to, and feel free to donate to my channel if you like. You can do it through PayPal me or Patreon or Steam Labs. Links will be in the description of the video, assuming you're watching this on YouTube. And I will see you again next time when I do another video. Hopefully that'll be soon. Until then, from Southern California, I wish you all a good day then. Bye.